I know I'm live. It just said it looks like your stream was deleted on Facebook. Try creating a new stream. Or just remove the destination. Okay, hold please. Technical difficulties. Let's see here. Edit. It's right here. I don't know why it's having issues. Let's see here. Remove. Sorry, guys. Just hang tight. Save changes. Okay, now let's see if I can add. Oh, I can't add a stream. Are we not going to be on Facebook tonight? Ruh-roh. Huh. And if I add it, if I end it, then I think it just disappears completely. So I definitely don't want to do that. Let's see here. Community conversations. Okay, Facebook. Let's try this. Save changes. Is it going to work? 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 Yeah, it did. Problem fixed. Live on Facebook. All right. And I have water on my shirt. What's up? What's up? All right. Sorry about that. Had technical difficulties. It is Tuesday, December 9th, 7 to 1 p.m. on the East Coast. No matter where you are, it's probably a different time and a different day, potentially. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us, welcome to Community Conversations. Please let us know you're here. Say hi. Let us know where you're from. It's good to see the family. We got Cash in the house. Beth is wondering why Cash is so wordy tonight, but honestly, I thought Cash was pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet by all accounts. Hi, Nathan. Good to see you. I saw Zach's in the house. Great to see you, Zach. So yeah, say hi. We'll get people in and situated, and then we'll get started in just a few minutes. Zach Perry's in Raleigh. We got married in Raleigh, Zach, at the Angus Barn. Hi, Richard. Good to see you again. Boop, boo. Let's see here. Just past midnight. Yeah, 5 hours ahead. That makes sense for the UK, for the UK. Where are you in the UK, Cash? What part of the UK are you in? Oh, well, I got Facebook working and my mom showed up. Darn it. Hey, Liz, how are you? Good to see you. As always, if you're just joining us, I'll get into the housekeeping in a second, but if you're just joining us, say hello. I know I laugh because when we're creating websites for my work and we want to add UK in the name of the website before the .com or whatever, it always makes it UK, and I always laugh, hence the UK. Anyway, Lydia, 10 a.m. Wednesday. She's in the future. Good to see I was going to say your face, but good to see your name. I hope you're well. And David's in the house. Hi, David. It's good to see you too. All right, let's get to some housekeeping, and then we'll jump right in. And in the meantime, say hello. Let us know where you're from. Favorite Christmas or holiday treat. All right. As always, this community. Oh, my name is Ethan. For those of you who don't know me, welcome to Community Conversations. This community conversation is intended to serve as educational content. It is not intended to replace therapy. For treatment-related questions, please be sure to work with your local provider or contact a local clinician. The IOCDF is not a crisis hotline. If you are in a crisis or ever feeling suicidal or unsafe, please go to your local emergency room or call 911 or the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988. As always, we want to create a safe space and be as kind and respectful to everyone here. At the end of the day, we're all here to support one another. And a note, this is being broadcast on several social media platforms and is being recorded. So keep that in mind as we talk about all of the things. Sugar cookies. I like homemade Christmas cookies. Christmas cookies in the lead. Hi from Oklahoma. Phyllis, how are you? Lydia's in the future. She is well into the future. It is a Wednesday morning. All right. So it is the holiday episode. As you can see, I'm wearing gray, very festive. I realized coming on that I don't think I have another live stream before the holidays. So this is it. We're coming in low key. I know that's a hip term that all the kids are using, 6-7. I don't know what that means. I don't know if I just said something that'll get me canceled, but I said it. Anyway, how's everyone doing? What's going on? Fill me in on the latest. I got some updates. They're interesting updates, but I got some updates. So in the meantime, how's everyone? Dottie! Good to see you, Dottie. Ethan is so cool. There's something so homey about sugar cookies. I don't know that I would go and actively buy sugar cookies at like the bakery or something, but when I'm out somewhere and they have sugar cookies, it's what I go to and what I like. So it just makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy. So Robert Spence in the house from my hometown, Houston, Texas. Good to see you, Robert. Want to hear the updates? I want to hear the updates too. I asked first, so technically, I want to hear what's going on, how everyone is doing, what's on your mind, what questions do you have? Rugaluk is good. I like Rugaluk. Good call, Zach. I'm in. What flavor Rugaluk is the question. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'll start my story, and hopefully that will encourage all of you to share your stories and or ask questions, comments, concerns. And if you're just watching, laying back, you haven't commented, we're absolutely glad you're here. There's no requirement to comment whatsoever. But if you have a question or thought, please feel free to share. Excuse me. Any flavor that fits in the mouth hole. That is the best. This sums up all cookies for me. Zach, you're my brother. You are my brother, Zach. So had an interesting day today. Long story short, over Thanksgiving, I went out of town with my parents and Katie. We went to a little resort in Northwest Georgia, and it's almost like adult camp. It's a lodge, and they have all kinds of stuff to do. Archery and fishing and so one of the things they had was clay pigeon shooting. So if you don't know what that is, they shoot a disc in the air, a non-living, non-animal disc, and you have a shotgun and you try to shoot it. It comes from different angles and all this stuff. I've never done it. I've only shot a gun one time in my life, and I'd never done it, but it sounded really interesting and new, and I like to challenge myself and do new things that are uncomfortable or whatever. So my dad and I thought we'd do this. So we did it. And it turns out that I'm a natural. Not going to brag, but I'm going to brag a little bit and say that unbeknownst to anyone on this planet, I'm pretty good at this. Never having done it. There you go, Ethan. From never having done it before, I was a bit of a natural. With that being said, halfway through the experience, I started getting some chest pain right here. And I was like, ow, but also, there's a recoil on a shotgun when it kicks back. And I was just like, oh, I'm just not used to this. I'm just sore. All the things, which is hilarious because I have health anxiety. So mostly if I have a hangnail, I'm freaking out. But this time I was like, nothing. So we finish about 2 hours and I'm just really sore in here, and the next day I noticed I was even more sore. And by the following day, so 2 days later, I was in excruciating pain. And I was 99% sure that it was muscular. Makes sense. And so did a little bit of research and determined it was muscular and went about my business. Came home, got a cold, and coughing, sneezing, breathing, moving, bending, all of the above was excruciatingly painful and is excruciatingly painful. So I'm still convincing myself that it's a muscle strain, which is hilarious because I'm usually trying to not convince myself that it is the worst possible thing in existence. I don't know when I got so tough around this, but I was like, whatever. So yesterday I was working and I was like, I had a sneeze or a cough and I was just like, something's not right. I don't think this is muscular. And, I always talk about that moment where there's insight, right? Where we don't think we have insight on something that our OCD typically attaches to. For me, it's health, right? So do I go to the doctor? Do I not go to the doctor? Should I get checked out? Should I not get checked out? But I had this moment yesterday where there was no question. I was like, I need to go to the doctor. I woke up in the morning and said, I don't know. I'm not going to. And then I felt this thing and I was just like, I need to go to the doctor. Fortunately, there's a sports medicine orthopedist across the street from me who's never busy. In fact, fun fact is I'm not convinced he's actually a licensed doctor. This is my OCD talking, but also I'm 10% serious. He's never busy. His wife, son, and daughter work at his practice, and there's never anyone else there. And he's in a shopping center. And I did look him up, and he has degrees and stuff, but it's like there's always that part of me that leaves there. And I'm like, so, I mean, how many specialists do you call? You're like, hey, I have a pain. Great. When would you like to come in? I'm like, tomorrow, 9:30. Yeah, great. And we take your insurance. Like, it never happens. I am 10% convinced that he doesn't even have a license. But anyway, excuse me, I'm going to mute myself for 1 second. Anyway, there wasn't a buffet in the office. That would have been the giveaway for me. Hey, Joanne, it's good to see you. Yeah, I went today and I sat there and I explained to him without missing a beat. He's like, oh, you fractured your ribs. And I was like, what? I Googled there is just a recoil. Anyway, so he did an x-ray and I fractured my, one of my sternum rib bones. Yeah, broken. I don't, it is broken, but it's not like a massive, I think I have a small fracture in one bone. So, actually, yeah. So that was surprising to me. And of course, then my OCD kicked in and it was like, oh my God, what does that mean? What's going to happen? You did diagnose it. Now, as most of you know, or may not know, there's not really anything to do. Yeah, exactly. You can't treat it. You just got to rest and suck it up. So you are an awesome medical assistant, Beth. So yeah, there's nothing to do. Just sit next to it. So he gave me some pain medication, which I may or may not take, and 4 to 6 weeks, which sucks because I've been working out and getting healthy, and I can walk, but I can't do any workouts. But I was super bummed, honestly. Yeah, little toe can't be. Yeah, you can tape it though. Oh, Jason's here. Did you come in late? You didn't hear? I have a cracked rib from shooting clay pigeons. What's funny is when I read the summary from the doctor, it wrote broke rib shooting pigeons, and I was like, what? No, I wasn't. It was clay pigeons. Yes, it was from the recoil, and I clearly wasn't holding it in the right place, even though the instructor put it. But it should be in the shoulder, and I was holding it here, which is not a good place to hold it. So there you go. A broken rib, which is super fun, and see, and that's no, I don't. What's interesting though is my mind's been going, whoa, because I'm on a medication for acid reflux, and it causes osteoporosis eventually. And like, I've never had a broken bone ever. And then in the last year, I broke my foot and my rib. So, although I did fall down the stairs, it wasn't like I was bowling. Anyway, so no, I don't, Beth, that I'm aware of. But now that you said that, I'll worry about it. So yeah, so I was super excited about that. I had another point to this. Oh, but the best part of the whole thing was over the last week, Katie has this insanely high pain tolerance and pain threshold. And I don't, and I'll own it. I don't handle pain really, really well, mental or physical. So the whole week, like when I've sneezed or when I've coughed, I've kind of winced. When I've done, I'm like, oh, that kind of thing. And Katie gives me this look, and I know she just thinks I've been overreacting this whole week. So when I came home, I was like, she's like, "What'd they say?" I was like, "I have a broken rib." She felt so bad. And you know what? I was okay with that a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. I was a little okay with that. She's like, "Oh, those are really painful, like excruciatingly painful." I was like, "Yes, they are." Anyway, so that's my story. The one time I decided to be like, nah, it's nothing. It was something. But see, the lesson here, and I know what you're thinking, the lesson is not, see, I should make sure it's something all the time because, see, it was something. That is not the lesson here. Please hear me when I say that. It was not the lesson. Okay. It was very unusual. I must have hit it in the exact right spot and all the things. So I wouldn't change anything uh, that I did differently. Although now I have probably an irrational fear of clay pigeon shooting. The one thing I've discovered I'm good at that's a sport. So I know exactly. It should be like hashtag Ethan tries guns. I know Cash. See, Cash is onto something. All the yeah, I'm gonna start putting cameras around the house. See what Katie's up to. All right. So the gist of that story is it's definitely triggered my OCD a little bit. Um, you know, from all the things. You read the summaries of the doctor, and they say things that they didn't tell you, like make sure you breathe 3 to 5 times, so you're 3 to 5 times every hour, so your lungs don't deflate or whatever. And I was like, what? I have to take deep breaths and don't shallow breathe, and like it was all this stuff he didn't say, and I was like, oh my gosh. um so a little triggered, but you know what, we'll get through it. Oh, I have other good news. That wasn't good news, but I do have other good news that I will update very quickly. The other thing I did really well this week, and then we're going to get into you, so you better have your questions answered, is as many of you know, and I've brought this up multiple times, I have this mass in my abdomen, and I miss the days when I was just worried about physical stuff. I didn't actually have any of it. Oh, those were the good old days when it was all just OCD. And then you hit your 40s and up, and the actual shit happens. Anyway, so most of you who have been on the journey with me in community conversations knows about this. Yes, mindfulness or death. That is the process, Zach. So I had my I had my year follow up MRI on last Monday, not yesterday, a week ago, last Monday, which I was very nervous about because it was going to determine whether this thing is officially benign or not. Had it grown, and OCD is loud. It makes it sound like, gosh, it's been a year. How could it not have grown? It's been a year. Like, of course. What are the odds? A millimeter. It just starts to tell you all this. All these narratives that seem so reasonable or logical or whatever. So I had the MRI on Monday, and it turns out it did not shrink, but it did not grow. It's exactly the same. And so the doctor has deemed it benign, which is great news. We're still going to monitor it once a year for a few more years just to be safe. Yeah, scanxiety is real, Beth. I love that word. I said it to my doctor for the first time, and I heard it from Uma, scanxiety, and I love that word because you put it out of your head, and then when you have to face it like a week before, up until the MRI, I was so anxious. So scanxiety is in fact real. But with that being said, it was the same size. I am totally fine. Just have everything else is falling apart, but the mass is not an issue. So I was honestly really, 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 really relieved to see that, and was and feel very blessed and grateful. For those of you that have been on the journey with me, that's the update on that. I think that's pretty much all I should talk about in regards to my health at the moment. Thank you, Zach. So with that being said, how are you? What's going on? What holidays are coming up? I know we've talked about it some, but this time of year can be really challenging for individuals with OCD related disorders. Pressures are put on us. We're made to feel like we have to act or feel a certain way. Oh, I have a great story for y'all about that. But anyway, oh, sorry, I was reading. Excuse me. Um, So yeah, this can be a really challenging time. I know my anxiety kicks up um, during this time, so I'm sure. So how are you feeling? What's going on? How can I support? How can we support each other? What is on your mind? And or do you just have any questions? Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. I'm relieved for me too. You know what, Cash? I just remembered you saying this about betting. I completely forgot that you won the lottery over the summer. I have that right, correct? You won like big bucks in the lottery. Yeah, Phyllis. Yeah, I totally relate to that. Some about this time of year, it's weird. It's like, I mean, there's science that shows about seasonal effectiveness and darkness and winter. I don't know what the depression rate in the Bahamas is like currently, but all the above. But if I look back at my past and my history of really challenging times before I got better, whatever, it was always like October to December. It was just a pattern of that. Yeah. Mostly gone. You're lying. I remember we all thought, yeah, that was amazing. You better not almost be gone. Cash, I'm gonna fly to Europe. We're gonna have a conversation. Gift giving versus low finances, pressure to call everybody who's going to be mad at me if I don't perform. 1000%. I totally relate to that, Zach. And I think that's so common as you're reflecting and giving back. And there's this sense of community and feeling like you have to do and what people expect of you. I totally relate to that. Thank you for sharing that. Beth, I brought groceries for people in need for the holidays in my neighborhood and an animal shelter too. And it felt, oh my God, I love that. Did you go out to buy the groceries? I love that regardless. That's awesome, Beth. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, uh yep, I hear that too. Research is difficult at the moment. I totally feel my business is involved in research and it has been challenging for sure. Um so I feel you on that, Zach. Um oh, amazing, Cash. Incredible. I love that for you. Big hug, man. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. I know, and I know it isn't the answer to life, but like just having some of those pressures off does help. So I'm glad. Um, what was I saying? What was I talking about? Something very fascinating. Oh, I think that it's important to be at peace with showing up as you are this month, um, and honoring how you feel, and respecting and giving yourself compassion and grace for that. You know, if there's an opportunity to put on a smiley face because doesn't feel good or you're out somewhere, sure, if you can, but also you're allowed to be how you are, who you feel, and that's valid, and it's okay to honor that. I'm not giving you permission necessarily to, go and compulse and you know, but in terms of things being difficult or challenging or feelings around navigating OCD and the holidays and all of those things, those are, that's very valid and intense. So I think that meeting yourself where you are and meeting yourself where you are and being okay with that and not caring what other people think, which, as we know, is really challenging for us. For a lot of people, you don't need OCD to worry about what people think. Um, but I think and not feeling like you have to give people explanations about what's going on or what's going on in your life or what you're thinking or feeling, knowing that no explanation is explanation enough. I think with OCD, we feel a need to have to explain ourselves to people, to justify a behavior or an action or the way we feel. It's almost like a penance that we have to pay. Like, no, 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 no. I'm not being this way because I'm a bad person. I'm not being this way because I'm being mean. I'm not being this way because I'm disrespectful or insensitive. I'm being this way because I have this thing and I need to tell you about it so you know why. You don't owe anybody an explanation. I love that we're kind of look at Five Below. Has some great gifts for anyone who doesn't have a budget to buy for those on the list, but that doesn't mean you have to buy. You can mention that you cannot do it for all. I think, I think handmade goes a long way. I think a text or a phone call goes a long way. I think that, sorry, my cat's freaking out. I think that gestures of love and goodwill go a long way. The people in your life that are close to you probably know what things are, and you can send them a text or a card or make a card, print it out, mail it out. That's such a huge gesture in the digital day and age. I can't tell you how far greeting cards go. That's enough. Or just, I'm thinking of you. It's been a tough year. Sending all my love, things like that are many times more precious. So don't feel like you have to give everybody everything. Don't feel like you have to match people or compare yourself to others and what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Etsy is all handmade. People have made $1 billion business out of handmade stuff. So now I personally, if somebody, I would never give anyone a handmade gift from me because I'm a lot of things. Artsy and crafty is not one of them. My cat is literally just screaming. Hey, Katie, if you're listening, see what's going on with Bonnie. It is about love. And I think, it can be more challenging, obviously, if you have children and money's tight and cousins and people who depend. But even then, I think it is okay, especially in a world of OCD and mental health. I think that we have to trust in people's resilience. And hi. My cat brought me a mouse. Hi. Thank you. Good job. Can y'all hear her? Good job. You did so good. I'd bend over and pick her up, but it's excruciatingly painful right now. But what I was saying was that what I was saying? Did y'all hear that? I think that people are resilient and people are understanding, even kiddos, and I think it's okay to say things like, it's been a tough year. We love you. We're here for you. Come up with creative things you can do, creative ways to show that you care, that you're thinking of people, that you love them. Little gestures go a long way. And so does communication and honesty and truth. And if those people, don't like that, then they can F off, honestly. I'm in a mood. I'm in some pain. So excuse me. That was a cat tail coming by. Oh, we say y'all here in Georgia. I'm from Texas and Georgia. So, but I have no accent. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that communication is key. It doesn't matter whether it's kids or family, that's all you can do is communicate the truth. And then think of outside the boxes. If you have a dollar store in your area, make a handwritten card or, or some flowers, something simple. You don't have to, send hundreds of dollars in gifts to everybody, and then that send that feeling that it's not enough or that, I'm failing in some way because somebody else is doing, like, that noise is going to be in our heads, but we have to let that go. We don't compare. Don't compare. Okay. We're going to be here for ourselves during this time. Yes, this is a period of giving. We also have to fill our own cups. We have to give to ourselves. And so what does that look like? How does that manifest for you? How does it look like to support yourself and honor where you are in this time, whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, financially? How do you honor that and still support others? Advocacy is a great way. Asking other people, how are you doing today? That rarely came out of my mouth when I was really, in the heat of OCD. So, calling a friend and checking in, calling a family member and saying, like, how you doing? Want to talk? Is everything okay? I mean, I feel the same thing. I'm not saying this from a place of like, I can think of like 10 friends that I owe phone calls over the course of 3 months, and I feel like a horrible friend. Life is challenging, and so I think we can honor that and love and respect each other. We do tend to forget our feelings, absolutely. Um, so, oh, my mom wrote, "Reach out to the seniors in your family at Christmas. They appreciate connecting at Christmas most." That is true. That's why I'm going to call you, Mom, after this. After this, um, so that is true. If you have grandparents or older friends, seniors, juniors, sophomores. I think it's true, Zach. They did a white paper on treatment is accessible in the gap, but it's important to put it in that context. I think being able to have the cohesive research to show that, and starting identifying it as a mental health crisis is what will ultimately um, turn heads and get people that need that can make change, and that we need to pay attention, hopefully. um, she did. She brought me a mouse. I'm not a real mouse, like her toy mouse, but she brings me toys all day long. Like 3 or 4 toys a day. She brings Mousy. She has a catnip dreidel that we gave her like 3 years ago that she loves, and then Mousy, Wormy, one other one. But yeah, so yeah, I think people that look at people, and we've known that for years. I mean, it's not a surprise. No one's looking at this and going, "Oh my God, there's a gap in treatment," But having it in this way, one of the largest studies ever, and being able to call attention to it in a cohesive, data-driven, you know, um, I can't think. I'm blanking on the word, but it's necessary. So, but totally agree with you. Also, there's also like a duck component to it, right? Like, but I think the ICDF has done an incredible job. I can't wait to share and really read it. And I haven't dove into it. I knew it came out today. I know the basics. I haven't really dove into it that much, but I'm really proud of the organization for doing that and taking those steps. I think it is a necessary step to evoke the necessary change everywhere, honestly. So, um, that's part of the problem, right, Phyllis? Especially in the States, or really, I mean, UK and Canada is the same way, but politicians don't give a rat's ass of mental care. Hell, it really feels like and seems like, and it's true, they don't care if physical, physical healthcare is accessible. Um, so agreed, but it's kind of like we're not going to stop trying. There are people and politicians and government officials that do care. Um, and so it's important to continue to support them and have them support us, and we'll get there. We're clawing our way. We've seen incredible progress over the last 20 years, and it's not going to be an overnight thing, but there's some steps are bigger than others, and this is a pretty big step. And so hopefully we can continue to put pressure on the powers that be, get bigger people, names, um, government officials and business tycoons and whoever is necessary, in order to start exacting change. I mean, the reality of it, Phyllis, and is that what politicians do care about is a bottom line and money, and the cost of OCD on government and and health insurance is exorbitant, right? It just is, because when OCD goes untreated, we utilize resources extensively, something like, I don't know, 9-10 billion a year, right? So if we can start showing people, and OCD did a good job of this when they were trying to get insurance companies to cover treatment. They were showing the heads of these insurance companies, look, this is what you'll spend over the course of a life on an individual with OCD that isn't treated for it. And this is what you'll spend when you do. I know I had health anxiety. I was the doctor every 5 minutes. God knows what I cost the insurance company. So I think, that's where we have to show not only that there's a need and the numbers show it, but also, and because of this, because 5% of the population is getting treated, what is the 95% of the population costing the government, whether it's the US or the UK or Canada or wherever. I mean, everybody's getting hurt somewhere. And I think when you appeal to those bottom lines and speak the language that they speak, which is money, we may not agree on a lot of things, but if that's what it takes to say, like, look, you can save X billion dollars a year by covering this treatment or making this more accessible or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then let's have that conversation. I think it's necessary. And Zach, I know you're probably kidding and not kidding, but about voting people with OCD. I mean, that's the hope, right? The prevalence is so high. People in government have OCD. So like, are they going to come and speak out? Like, let's do that. We need to study on how it impacts shareholder value. Did y'all see, I watched it the other night. Who here saw the documentary Being Eddie, the Eddie Murphy documentary on Netflix? I either didn't know or had forgotten that he had OCD. And he talks about it for about, 3-4 minutes. It was really interesting what he has. It made me laugh because like I said, I either didn't know or forgot. I feel like I know all the current celebrities or big celebrities that have OCD. But for those of you that didn't see it, Eddie Murphy, and I'm not going to do an impression of him, but Eddie Murphy is talking about when he's a child, and he's 7 or 8 years old, and he has to get up and check the stove to make sure that the gas isn't on. He's like, I got up and I checked and I looked at the knobs, and I was like, okay, it's not on, and I went back to bed. I lay there and 5-10 minutes ago. Oh my gosh, what if it's on? What if I didn't see it right? And I get up and go check. He's like, I do this for a couple hours. And he goes on to say, I did this for a couple years. And then one day I was in the family room watching TV. My mom was watching the news, and this doctor came on. Hi, Barry. Good to see you, buddy. And this doctor was on. The Eddie Murphy documentary isn't about OCD. It's about his life. And it's actually really good. But there was this one piece of it. So he goes, yeah, the news came on, and there was this doctor. And he starts explaining this OCD thing and what it's like. And Eddie's like, I watched this. I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I got this OCD thing. And then Eddie says, and then the doctor said it was a mental illness. And Eddie went, what? A mental illness? I thought I would just was a little funky. I don't have a mental illness. And so he says he laid in bed that night and got the urge to go check. And he was like, nope, I don't have a mental illness. I'm not going to check. And I forced myself to not move because I didn't want a mental illness. I would like to believe that he had a very mild form of OCD. There was no way. But anyway, I thought that was really funny. And then he's like, as an adult, I may check every once in a while another time. But I thought that was funny when he was just like, you know what? I'm not going to have a mental illness. I thought I was just funky. It made me laugh, and it hurts to laugh. Ow. Yeah. So lots of good things. I think we've touched on a lot of good topics. Who's got questions? Or I have more stories. OCD is brutal. My daughter is so poorly with. We are in the UK. Hi, Amy. Thank you for showing up late. Yeah, the UK we have a lot of folks from the UK actually here, and it's tough with the not the NIH. My brain isn't functioning, but it's very tough. And the processes, I'm very familiar. I do have a lot of resources in the UK. I'm going to send you to my brain today. Maybe it's the pain. I can't remember anything. Let me just, Catherine. Taming Olivia. Could not think of that name for some reason. I don't know how old your daughter is, Amy, but this is an amazing advocate in the UK. I'm going to put this in the chat. Catherine Benfield, our Hero Award winner, year before last, has an amazing nonprofit. She's very well connected with the two major foundations in the UK that can hopefully help me. I don't know if you've checked, Amy. There is some. And that's why I'm sending you. They have two organizations, two nonprofits. There's a global IOCDF. I worked with them a few years ago. global partners. I'm just going to look real quick because I'm having brain issues. Let's see. I think it's on the website as Cash's Home. Here we are. Oh, OCD Action, of course. I'll put the website, but OCD Action is sort of the sister foundation to the IOCDF. There you go. But check out those two websites. If you want to email Catherine as well through that website and tell her that I referred to you, they have a lot of resources and they know a lot of people. And I know you have to jump through hoops and go through very specific things to do that. But hopefully, if you weren't aware of OCD Action and Taming Olivia before, you are now. They're two great resources in the UK. What was I going to say? I saw a question from, I think, Zach. Where was it? What distress tolerance skills have helped people lately been struggling to resist? I pose that question to you all. That's a great question. What distress tolerance skills have you all been using lately that help? Because I found it hard to resist this week too. So let's compile a list. Okay, Amy, I'm glad. Also reach out to Catherine at Taming Olivia. She's well connected, knows a lot of people in the UK, as well as OCD Action, but knows a lot of other people. And her specific website is geared for the younger kiddos as well. So definitely check her out if you haven't already. I'll also give out my email. And this goes for anybody but Cash. If you have questions. Taming Olivia. Where did the website go? Here it is. I'll put it. It's under IOCDF, and it should pop up in your comments. Okay, I put it back there again. Easy Cash. Yeah, I just put that in here. I'll do this. There we go. So check out that website. If you're in the UK and looking for resources, OCD Action also. But Catherine's amazing. Yeah, it's on screen, Amy. All right. Hi, Em. What advice would you give a middle-aged adult who just got diagnosed with OCD but is struggling to understand and accept it? It's a great question. Out of curiosity, are you a caregiver, family member, friend? The answer, well, it directs the answer to some extent. But just curious. So there's a few things. I think that, from what I'm gathering, if it's hard to accept, oh, it's you. Okay. I appreciate you saying that. Well, first of all, I will call you out on the fact that you're here. And if you're here, A, that's awesome. And B, there has to be some level of acceptance. But I'm glad you're here and let's help. I think that the first thing is to destigmatize the idea that OCD and a mental illness is your fault, that it is bad in some way, embarrassing. I think we need to understand that OCD is just like any other physical condition. It's an illness, a disease, it's a disorder. It's not who you are. Okay, it's a short in our brains, right? But it's no different than somebody having diabetes or MS or some other condition like that. Yeah, and that's great advice too, Nathan. Yeah, you can go to the IOCDF and read all about it 100%. But I would start there, which is understanding that there's 1 in 100 people have OCD. It is 3 million in the US and millions more nationwide. And that number is honestly too low. There's a lot more that are just undiagnosed. So the first thing is Of course, Beth. So the first thing is understanding that you're not alone. You're not crazy. There isn't something wrong with you as a human being. Okay. You are you, and you also have OCD. So that is the first thing. The second piece of it is the acceptance can take time, and that's okay. That's okay. That's hard. It's hard to accept a diagnosis. However, with that being said, if the diagnosis illuminates pieces of your life, if you are have been confused about why you behave or do things in a certain way. Yeah, I know I got thank you, Nathan. When I said 1 in 100, I was like, that's not right. That is correct. 1 in 40. Thank you for the correction. But if it illuminates behaviors in your life, why you do certain things, you were wondering why you did that. I hope that in some respects it gives you some relief to understand that, you're not weird, you're not messed up, you're not any of the things. Okay, that's great. That's great. So do you have some understanding of what it is and how it works, and is it helping you? I mean, you went for testing, which tells me that it was interfering with your life in some way, right? So the two components quickly are acceptance, but acceptance is really important only to get treatment, right? Because at the end of the day, in whatever way, oh, I love that, Rob. In whatever way it is impacting your life in some way that it moves you to go get diagnosed and tested, right? So if you're looking to regain the pieces of your life that are currently disrupted or not functioning correctly because of the OCD, or maybe it's something that you can ever do, really, you're losing time, you're losing relationships, work is harder, whatever it is, understanding that also, although OCD is a awful son of a bitch, it's also one of the most treatable mental health conditions. And the first line gold standard treatment, exposure and response prevention, is an extremely effective treatment for OCD. I think so. Therefore, the first step is, can I accept it enough to want to be better and to move forward? And if you can get there, then you're moving forward. And again, you're here, which is huge. You're asking questions, which is extremely brave, and really give you a lot of credit for that. And you went and got tested. Those three things alone tell me that something is up. And so the pieces that will keep you from accepting it or hard to admit it are the way we stigmatize ourselves and the way society stigmatizes individuals with mental illness, right? But I'm here to tell you that you have a massive community here waiting to support you, and there's help, and there's, like I said, an amazing community, and you're not alone, and you are not broken, and you are not your OCD. You're an individual, a probably pretty amazing individual, that has this thing like all of us do. And be patient with yourself and give yourself lots of self-compassion and lots of grace around that. In other words, you're not going to accept it overnight. Maybe you don't want to admit it overnight. That's okay. There's no exact path to this thing. There's no exact rules to this thing. Everybody's individual journey is unique, right? But we want that journey to eventually lead to treatment. And treatment at the beginning is exposure and response prevention to start, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And so, to help part of that acceptance, the question I would ask you is, what do you value? What do you love? OCD, yeah, but absolutely. And that's okay to be surprised. OCD, the society has done a very good, I don't know how your symptoms manifest, and you're welcome to share, but you also don't have to at all. I'm just happy you're here and talking to us. That's awesome. But society has taught us that OCD is 3 or 4 very specific things, and that's it. And yes, hand washing and germs and all those things is OCD, but it's also 1,000 other things. Um, and so a lot of people don't realize that, their life has been impacted in one way or another by OCD, or significantly impaired by OCD. And it is, and that's okay. And the bad news is that it's OCD, but the good news is that we have really effective behavioral therapy and medication and things that, you can get your life back. I mean, I was completely bedridden and unable to function in a psychiatric hospital, and I have a beautiful life now. OCD gets loud every now and again, but it's good, So while there's no cure, I'm at peace with that. I'm good, So I think that at the end of the day, we just have to take it a step at a time, and recognize, what you deserve. Oh, so OCD will work against your values, right? It wants you to believe that you want to do or feel something that you don't value. And so it's important to recognize the things that you care about, that it's probably taking away a little bit, right? Making your world a little bit smaller. And if you want that back, the path forward is treatment. And so I don't know where you are, but there's some great resources on the IOCDF website. There's great resources for treatment and therapy and self-help books and support groups. And so dive in and be kind to yourself, be compassionate with yourself. Just because I'm saying these things doesn't mean that you have to agree with it right now. It doesn't mean that you have to feel all the things that I'm feeling. I'm just letting you know in this moment, if you can be here and go, wow, there's a bunch of people here and they all have OCD and they're talking about it and they're sharing success stories and experiences and they're talking to you, that maybe you're not alone and maybe it's worth just exploring a little bit more and taking that next baby step forward. And that's the only place you need to be right now, is just continuing to explore and figure out what this means and what you need. But the treatment itself is cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure and response prevention. There are other treatments as well, but that is the first start. And medication may or may not be a good option for you. It just depends. Everybody's responds differently, but there's those as well. So if where you got the testing, if that was a psychiatrist or psychologist. But the biggest thing I can tell you is, even if you were diagnosed with OCD at a psychologist's office, let's say, or a psychiatrist's office, please, 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 if you're exploring treatment options, make sure that they do exposure and response prevention. Listen to me carefully. Make sure that they do exposure and response prevention, okay? Don't just go by, we treat OCD. Lots of therapists say they treat OCD. Very few therapists treat OCD correctly, okay? The IOCDF has all the resources that you need to know about what modalities of treatment are used to treat OCD. And if they don't do those and they aren't well versed in those, go somewhere else. You will spend a lot of time and a lot of money. You'll waste a lot of time and a lot of money at the wrong place. And that is so, learn from my journey, learn from other people's journeys that just didn't know, right? That just didn't know. And make sure that's first and foremost. And there's a really good, let's see here. Oh, no, it's not. It's not going to be here because they changed it. IOCDF seeking a therapist. Here it is. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Okay, here we go. This is a great article. I'll put it in the chat. Oops. That wasn't the right button. This is how to find the right therapist. It gives a lot of information on things to look for, what questions to ask, how to interview a therapist. And yeah, take your time looking through all this stuff. Again, don't put all the pressure on yourself that, I have to fix this right now. And oh my God, take a breath. You take a great first step, and now you've taken a great second step at being here. And now it's just about reading. There's tons of video resources. I mean, you could just go in the libraries on YouTube or Facebook to see years of these live streams and programming. So So lots of good stuff. I also gave my email up above. If you have additional questions, you can always email me there. And obviously you can email the IOCDF with any questions that you have as well. But hopefully this gave you some insight and context. But yeah, you're not alone in this, and you're not a bad person. You're not a freak. You're not broken. Okay, this is a disease. It's a disorder, just like any other disorder, and so we treat it as such. And you're gonna have lots of those thoughts. Like you're gonna look back and go, "Oh, well, that's why I did that, or that's why I did this, or I didn't realize that I've been doing that, since I was that age or whatever." And like I said, the best thing you can do, because it's a lot of information and it can be very mentally overwhelming, is just take a breath, take a beat. You got the diagnosis, you're now exploring, you're looking, you found us. Right? So just give yourself moments and beats. And the next stop and also keep in mind that a therapist will help you understand what is OCD, what is its normal behavior, how does it act in your life, what does it mean, how do we treat? It's not just about treatment. The first piece of it is education and understanding what it is and how it behaves, and that in and of itself is invaluable. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you around. Where this stream is every other week. We don't do one over the holiday week, so it'll be in January, but we hope to see you here all the time. Hi, Carrie Smalley. Thank you so much. We're lucky to have you and your family. All the moms are here tonight. Now we know. I'm like the soft rock of IOCDF. But those of you who know and love Tom Smalley, IOCDF advocate, that is Tom's mom, Carrie, and wonderful human being. And yes, I just said that. I am the soft rock of the IOCDF world. That's kind of made me laugh. I thought that was funny. Anyway, we have 3 minutes left. So any last questions? This has been a great conversation, though. I really appreciate y'all. I hope that you have, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here. Just to give you some additional thoughts on this, it's so challenging to be proactive when you're struggling with OCD. I can't tell you how many times I was sort of dragged, to do things, or it's just so hard of my own volition and accord to take proactive steps when you're struggling. That's why, I'm not ever shy about telling people, if you're here today, that's a huge step. I went to 1 or 2 support groups that my parents dragged me to. I don't know that I ever did anything online. So, you should give yourself, those of you that are here, you should give yourself a lot of credit. And you especially, I don't know your first name, but M. Thompson, you especially, it's a huge step to want to be curious about this and want to figure out, what's what. And yes, that is a Star Trek poster. I like Star Trek growing up. It's a sign. I have a bunch of movie and TV memorabilia. This is a Christmas Story. This is timely. One of my best friends in the world, if you saw A Christmas Story, I should have had him on. Oh, why didn't I think of that? That would have been awesome. But one of my best friends it was the redheaded bully, Scott Farkas, with the yellow eyes and A Christmas Story. He's one of my dearest friends. So he got me that. and so, yeah. So it's all just different. My favorite movies. It's kind of hard to see. That is Spaceballs. That is The Goonies. That is Willy Wonka. And that is The Princess Bride right there. And the collection will slowly grow. Some of my all-time faves. Anyway, absolutely. Come to the CFA support group every other Tuesday, 7 p.m. Link is on the IOCDF. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, I have a picture of Zach and I somewhere. We met on a movie in 2011. We were shooting a movie together, and I met him. And we hit it off, and we've been dear friends ever since. He looks exactly the same, by the way. It's really terrifying. And he's done a million things, but that's the thing he knows. Everybody knows him from. Well, that and Freddy vs. Jason and Titus and Resident Evil, I think, are the top 4 that he's mostly known for. All right, 8 o'clock. I want to thank you for being here. whatever you celebrate, whatever you honor, or just being you in December, go into the rest of this season with a calm mind and an open heart and compassion and grace and just patience for yourself and a lot of self-love and a lot of love. Give yourself space to feel those feelings. Give yourself room to experience the thoughts and try not to react to them. Try not to respond to them. Yes, absolutely. Trauma and OCD SIG support group this Friday at 12 p.m. As you can see, there's lots of support. Let me give y'all, let's see here, IOCDF support groups. Live Googling. It's very exciting. Excuse me. Just getting over a cold too, which is exactly what you want when you have a broken rib. I'm going to post the links now to support groups. There you go. Okay. All right. Well, it was so good to see everyone. If you're new here, please join us again in January. If you've been here, please keep coming. You know, we all have lots of love for each other and love you. As always, like, follow, subscribe. You get notified when we go live. As you know, if you're considering gifts this year, please consider donating to the IOCDF, iocdf.org/donate. There it is. And of course, you can visit iocdf.org for resources. So with all that, I love you all. Happy holidays. Stay safe, stay vigilant, feel the feels. Don't let OCD off the hook. And yes, one of my cats' name is Bonnie. That was the one that was meowing. And then my other cat is Callie. Otherwise, if you see Katie's post, we call meepers because she doesn't meow. She just makes these little meeps. So we have called her meepers. I actually, the best way to describe Callie to Katie is I said that whatever you believe in, but God made a version 1 of the cat. And then he was like, I think I can improve on this version. And much later, she is version 1. That is how I describe Callie. She is version 1 and somehow got out and came to us, and we love her and would never want any different. Although she scratched the crap out of me 2 days ago on my thumb. And yeah, not that cute, huh? All right. Well, stay safe. Feel the feels. Don't let OCD off the hook. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. I think tomorrow is a stream as well. So check us out tomorrow at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you soon. All right. Have a beautiful, beautiful December. Love you guys. And thank you for making for my year. Oh, yeah. We'll see you in I forgot the new year, too. We'll see you in 2026. Lydia will be there first. Remember that. She'll be in 2026 before we're in 2026. But regardless, Happy New Year. And we'll see you next year. Thanks for making my year and my life so full and so beautiful. I hope you're getting just as much out of this in return as I am. Y'all are very special to me and the IOCDF. So, all right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.